What's cracking, everybody? XehrFelrose here, bringing you some Pokemon Go Battle League content. In today's video, we've got an exciting little addition to my Master League roster. I got a Shadow Garchomp, and I'm not afraid to use it. Built this bad boy. Let's take a look at how it performs in the Master Premier Cup. In the beginning of the battle here, we've got a very bad lead. Gyarados into Metagross. I can't speak today, guys. It's all right, though. So, we're going to get the worst possible thing. We get the Garchomp save swap into the Togekiss swap in. Now, I'm hoping that this is all the opponents got as far as fairies in the back, right? So, if you don't know, if you haven't been around for that long, which if you have been, welcome to the channel. Glad to have you. I have actually played this same team a while back in Master Premier, even all the way back in Classic, with the Garchomp save swap and playing Haxorus on the sweeping position here of the team. So what we've got is just Metagross Double Dragon. Super strong, tight core. Garchomp, the ability of Dragon Tail Sandtomb Garchomp to just chew through anything it wants to that's not a fairy is disgusting. So that's what we're taking advantage of, and I had a really good IV Shadow Gibble, and I'm like, dude, I'm building this thing. Screw it. Now, the only thing that I would probably change up on this team here is I do have a Hundo Haxorus that I caught from Comday, and I've also got a lucky 96% that's like 15, 13, 15 or something like that. That is Best Buddied. I actually preferred to have the Best Buddy boost because everybody and their mother is playing Haxorus right now. So being able to win that CMP is really crucial. So if you can, I would use a Best Buddy Haxorus if you've got a usable one in your roster already. Otherwise, I only ever had that situation come up once where I needed to win that CMP. So this is perfectly fine. Now this first battle, just absolutely taking a terrible situation and making the most out of it, taking that catch, and that's going to win me the game here over the Mamoswine. And the opponent does not have enough HP to withstand or some energy to take out my Haxorus, so they're going to get taken out, and that's going to be a good game. Well played to my opponent. They had me from the beginning and up to the end, but were able to outplay that situation and take the win. So Garchomp on the lead. The opponent has a Garchomp. They are running Dragon Tail Garchomp. Now, when it comes to Garchomp, as well as Gyarados, I actually check the fast move before I make a decision on whether I'm going to swap or not. Eventually, I have to swap in order to get whatever answer they may have to Dragons in the back out, but for right now, I'm going to stay in. I'm going to either get a shield or do a ton of damage. It's weird. I hope that doesn't go through to the video. That loud clap in my ear. That was weird. Alright, so anyway, the opponent is going to counter swap a Mamoswine into my Shadow Garchomp. And this actually, they're just going to farm me down. This actually kind of sucks because it's both Shadow. But look how much damage those Dragon Tails do, dude. That's so much damage. Goodness. I'm going to bring in my Metagross, and I can shield once here and hope that they're not going to throw an Avalanche. I would like to think that normally they would go for the high horsepower, but my opponent does just go for the Avalanche. They may as well throw on high horsepower for all that it mattered. They're going to come in with an Excadrill. My switch clock is being currently counted down, so I don't have any way to switch out at this point. Earthquake is going to get the shield, so I swap in my Haxorus with a shield up, and I can shield this drill run, and I should safely be able to take out this Excadrill. And the Garchomp that's in the lead, because I have energy, the Breaking Swipe is going to be enough. I just need 2 moves, and that's all I need. So I'm expecting my opponent to try and catch a move here or something. I just go straight for the Breaking Swipe. I probably should have gone for Night Slash here, but I was actually expecting them to try and combo play me and swap out immediately, because they're running Dragon Tail, so I figured they would just try and get my HP low enough to take out, but thankfully still able to take it out because they tried to catch a move or something there. So anyway, we get a Metagross lead into a Metagross. Not so great. Instantly going to go into my Garchomp because it's a ground type. And my opponent brings in Haxorus, and I stupidly CMP on Sandtomb, thinking I was like maybe a turn ahead of them. So Breaking Swipe is going to get my shield, and I'm just going to no-charge the Sandtomb so I can get a little bit of farm so that I can come back into that Metagross fight with some energy to possibly get a guaranteed shield or take out their Metagross with an Earth Power. That's what I'm hoping to do. So they've seen Sandtomb. Typically, you should want to run Sandtomb Earth Power on the Dragon Tail Garchomp, but I chicken out a bit because I think they're about to get to a move, and I throw the Sandtomb anyway. Should have just gone for the Earth Power. The opponent doesn't shield because they're keeping track of my energy, and they're taking a good count of what I've got. So they're going to throw a move here right before I get to the next Sandtomb, which is good for them. But they are getting pretty low on energy. They have an extra shield. We're going to see what happens here. Haxorus is going to shield up, and I just got to try and make something happen, right? Maybe hopefully they have, something in the back that's weak to Metagross. They have a Golisopod in the back, so that is definitely not weak to Metagross. So what I'm going to look to do here is throw Breaking Swipe after Breaking Swipe. My opponent is going to have to shield something at some point. This is probably just an X-Scissor. I think a liquidation would be a little more than that. No, it was a liquidation, but it doesn't do too much damage because of the dragon typing on Haxorus. If my opponent had X-Scissor, it would be doing neutral damage, and they also, I think they're just trying to get my defense shredded, to be completely honest. So I'm going to go for the Breaking Swipe on CMP here. They're going to throw another liquidation, and I'm constantly just sitting here, lowering their attack, and now that their shields are down, I have much more play into this situation. So what I'm looking to do here is I'm looking to make sure that they don't try to catch a move on me. But my Metagross with full HP is fine. They do come in here with their Metagross to, again, trying to catch a move. But they're going to catch these hands. My Sand Slash. My Night Slash is going to take out the Metagross. And with all this HP, there's no way that this Golisopod can take out my Metagross. Now, if it were a one-on-one even matchup, this Golisopod would absolutely shred my Metagross. But because we have full HP and they have like none, all I need to do is get to a Meteor Mash and take out this Golisopod, and that's going to be enough to get the game. But instead I just farmed down because I'm pretty confident in my counting and knew they weren't going to get to a move. So Metagross into Florges, you couldn't ask for a better lead. All I have to do in this situation is just keep alignment however possible. The opponent comes in with Metagross, and I probably should come in with Garchomp here. But I come in with my Haxorus. I have to spend shields in this situation, and that feels really bad. So I also don't get boosts. I haven't got a single Night Slash boost in all the time that I've been playing this Haxorus, and it feels so bad. So I have to shield that up. My opponent, I'm going to actually continue to farm up until they get to that Meteor Mash, and then I'm going to throw the Night Slash. That way they may be forced to spend at least one shield, or I come up with a little bit of extra energy. So thankfully I at least get a shield off my opponent, but I have to make a decision here, and I do decide to just shield and get switch advantage because I realize that my Garchomp being against that Florges is just a death sentence, even if I have a shield. So I'm going to let them come in with their Florges. I'm going to Breaking Swipe the ever-loving heck out of this Florges. Maybe go for a Night Slash for a little bit of extra, not as resisted damage, right? Remember that Fairy does double resist dragon damage, so they will, I mean, either way, it's still not great. But I go for as much damage as I can possibly put out here, knowing that Metagross can easily just absorb all the energy that they're farming up right now. And Garchomp hopefully can deal with whatever's in the back. So they're going to come in with a Haxorus. Garchomp is just going to rip through this Haxorus with no remorse. That's fine. I can eat a Breaking Swipe. Breaking Swipe is just a Dragon Claw, right? Easy. Even with an attack drop, going to be able to go for the Sand Tomb one turn, I think, before they would get to that Breaking Swipe. Going to be able to take out their Haxorus, and all I had to do there was just keep switch advantage. Honestly, even at that HP, they could go for the Breaking Swipe and take out my Garchomp, and then and then the Metagross just comes in and just bullet punches everything down. So that's going to be a good game, well played. Thankfully, you know, the thing with Master League Premier is that it's incredibly RPS, and to a degree, like, this is a terrible lead. So with the Gyarados specifically, I mentioned some things where I do differently on the leads, right? So Gyarados, I check to see what the fast move is. If it's a Waterfall Gyarados, I immediately save swap into my Garchomp. If it's a Dragon Breath Gyarados, I stay in for just a bit to get some chip damage on and throw a Meteor Mash. That's how I play the lead out. Now, my opponent swaps in and has a Primarina. So unfortunately, the Shadow Earth power is not quite enough to get that thing KO'd. I was hoping it would be, but it's just not quite there. So my opponent goes for a little bit of chip on the Disarming Voice, and unfortunately, we're not even close to being able to swap out yet. So I have to sit here and take some waterfalls on this from this Gyarados. Thankfully, they throw energy, which means that they can't throw a crunch into my Haxorus when I swap it in. So I immediately come with my Haxorus, because this is a really good matchup now with Breaking Swipe, being able to lower the attack. So I'm going to continue to go for good timing here. And my opponent's farming up. I am going to count these waterfalls and make sure that they don't get to how many would be needed for like an Outrage or something. And they come in with a Snorlax, and you know what? Haxorus still core breaks teams just as well as it did before the community day, except now it's just on more teams. But Haxorus still able to core break the Waterfall Gyarados and literally almost anything else cores, because, you know, Excadrill, Snorlax, all that stuff gets broken by the Haxorus now. So my opponent's going to go for a superpower. I don't know why, but I'm easily going to be able to just save my shield for the save the shield for the Metagross and farm down after getting a Breaking Swipe off. Excuse me. My opponent will have to throw another move in order to take me out, which they are just not going to be able to do, and be able to take out my Metagross with more crunches than I just farm down here. I mean, they go through the they go for the Aqua Tail, which is resisted. I just counter down with Haxorus, and that's going to be a good game, well played. Next game we've got Metagross on Dragonite. So the way that I play this one out is I'm going to farm up to that Meteor Mash, and I'm going to throw it right away. If my opponent throws the Superpower before I get to the Meteor Mash, that's fine. I expect them to swap out at that point, so I just react accordingly. But if they decide not to, they usually shield the move, and I continue to farm. I want them to throw the Superpower because I want them to have lower HP, because I want Garchomp to shred this. I want the Garchomp to shred this thing. So I catch what is probably a Superpower or Dragon Claw, but I shield it because I'm like, I don't know what I was thinking there, but we shield up just in case because I didn't want to accidentally take a Dragon Claw. So my opponent comes in, counter swaps with a Metagross. This presents a unique opportunity for me to lower their defense, get them down to a low point, and they have to throw here. Because if they don't, I get to the Sand Tomb, and now they're going to be forced to shield or lose their Metagross. And then at that point, Haxorus can farm down, land a Breaking Swipe against the Dragonite, take it out. And honestly, Haxorus is probably good against whatever's in the back too, given that they've got a Dragonite in the lead. Usually it's Dragonite double Steel is a very common course. So I come in with my Metagross here to force them to throw the rest of their energy, and I'm just going to let it go. And then I'm going to immediately swap in my Haxorus, and my opponent literally just swaps an Excadrill immediately, and it's got Mud Slap for some reason. I don't know, maybe they wanted extra damage against the Steels. Doesn't really matter. My opponent's not going to be able to get to a move, and Haxorus is going to destroy them anyway. Going to be able to get to the Breaking Swipe against this Dragonite because they decided to throw that energy. And after this KOs, should be able to take out that Metagross pretty simply here. Oh, but they don't get KO'd. Thankfully, they didn't have any energy, so I'm still going to be able to take them out. The opponent concedes, and that's going to be a good game. Well played. Metagross into Gyarados, so once again, going to wait to check for the fast move and then swap accordingly. Opponent's got Dragon Breath, so here's where we're going to play the Dragon Breath out. We're going to wait for them to throw that Crunch, because I'm going to go for the Meteor Mash right away. I'm still going to eat the Crunch regardless, but if my opponent throws Crunch, that's fine. It means that now Garchomp can come in and start Dragon Tailing. A Gyarados at that HP is manageable for the dragons in the back, but not so much at full HP. So my opponent stays in trying to do the damage, but look how quickly Garchomp just shreds through this thing. I go for the Sand Tomb just in case they wanted to try and farm extra, because that would KO from this range. And then they come in with a Mamoswine, and I'm going to go for the Sand Tombs here. I have enough energy that I should be able to force a shield off of them pretty easily here, so which I do. And then afterwards, I'm going to go for another Sand Tomb, which now does a fairly significant chunk of their HP, even though it's just a Sand Tomb. So they're going to let that go. I'm going to go down here, but now my Metagross is poised to be able to hopefully farm this thing down. I'm going to let this go, because I think it's just an Avalanche. But it's a high horsepower that's going to take out my Metagross, and unfortunately that's going to leave Haxorus in a position to have to sweep this entire game. But because their Gyarados is at such low HP, we have to see what they've got. Now they've got a Haxorus here, and now the Haxorus mirror is harrowing, and this is right where I wish I had a Best Buddy Haxorus, because I could guarantee that I'm going to win Switch, because I know my opponent is definitely going to look to try and catch here. And so being able to build up to the extra energy to get to the back-to-back moves is what I'm looking for here. Now, they decide to come in with their Gyarados, like I said, try to catch a move, but I go for double Breaking Swipe, but they just got to their second Breaking Swipe. So this is actually going to come down to a coin toss on CMP, and my opponent wins CMP, unfortunately, so that's going to be a good game. Well played. Came down to just that coin flip. Unfortunately, it happens sometimes, but is what it is. Can't really do much about it. Then and ever since then, I've been playing with my best buddy Haxorus. So we've got a mirror lead in the next game, and we both safe swap immediately into our dragons. Now my opponent coming in with Haxorus, they're going to get a shield off of me, but I'm going to farm their Haxorus all the way down, and I can easily come back in, or come with an Earth Power loaded into this Metagross, and they have to respect it. So I go for the Sand Tomb here to get the shield. My opponent does shield that. Now I'm going to try and go and reach for the Earth Power before I go down. So I'm going to make sure I guarantee getting both shields off of this, or they're going to have to take the... Oh, they take it to the face, and then here comes the Garchomp. We're playing the same team, but my opponent decided to safe swap the Haxorus, which I've been considering lately, to be honest. But I've just always preferred the Garchomp safe swap because it's just so much more effective, in my opinion. So we get a safe swap into the Dragonite and the Garchomp, and now we're going to see why Garchomp is such a strong safe swap in this league. You see Garchomp into Dragonite, you usually would think the Dragonite wins, but no, the Dragonite does not win. Now, unfortunately, I do have to throw here. I think that in the regular matchup with regular Garchomp, I think that might be a narrow loss or a narrow win. But because of the Shadow boost, it becomes a 1 HP sort of situation. But because we've got Mamoswine, now what I can do is I can tank this. I think it's just a high horsepower, and I know I can tank that. But the opponent decides to throw Avalanche to bait me, and then they're going to come in with a Gyarados, and it's Waterfall Gyarados, which means my Haxorus is going to have a really good time here. I leave some HP, or I leave some energy on my Metagross, and I come in with my Haxorus. I'm looking to throw a move here before the opponent gets to the crunch, but they're going to continue farming. And at this point, if you haven't thrown crunch by now, I'm kind of suspecting that there's a chance that there could be an outrage. So I'm going to shield up just in case there's outrage. I haven't quite seen it yet, but that's the first one, and that's a good shield. Going to go for some good timing. Make sure we get some extra energy here. Breaking Swipe is going to go off and take out or get the shield off of this Gyarados. And then the opponent does decide to shield. Going to go for the next Breaking Swipe just to make sure they can't get to another charge move. And then I'm pretty sure that I'm either going to outpace this Mamoswine to the next charge move on my Haxorus or my Metagross, and they decide to concede. That's a good game. Next game, we've got Primarina on the lead against my Metagross, so I'm just looking to see what the move is, but my opponent swaps immediately, which definitely means that they've got Charm. So now I immediately swap in my Haxorus into the Waterfall Gyarados, because again, as we said, this is a really strong matchup for Haxorus, especially with the Breaking Swipe. It used to be good for Haxorus with Dragon Claw, but now it's even better because of the ability to drop the attack, and Crunch just does not do enough damage to really make you worry about it. So with good timing, going to go for these Breaking Swipes, and just come out with extra energy on the other side. Even though Primarina is going to be in the lead, opponent can just charm me down here. That's unfortunate. I'm going to go for the Breaking Swipe with bad timing just because might as well get it done at some point. Don't want to risk losing it. So I immediately swap in my Metagross thinking that the timers were in sync, and I'm not able to get there. My timer's still ticking down. My opponent's able to instantly swap in an Excadrill, and now I have to play the eat a drill run and shield the rest game. So the opponent's got a ton of extra energy, which really sucks. So what I'm looking to do is get them low enough that my Metagross can potentially farm down. I think that's really my end goal here. But in the meantime, I'm just going to go straight Sand Tomb because they have to shield it. If my opponent loses this Excadrill, it's over for them, because that's the only way that they have to deal with my Metagross. So look how low they're getting. This Shadow Garchomp, the Shadow Dragon Tail damage is eating through this thing. I'm going to go for another Sand Tomb. My opponent has to respect this and shield up. And then at that point, they come in with the Metagross, or I come in with the Metagross. They try to swap in the Primarina. I build up to double Meteor Mash, and that's going to basically finish this game off for me, thankfully, because Meteor Mash absolutely claps the Primarina, and we would have... I don't remember who wins CMP in this matchup. I think it's Metagross, but either way, they would have had to build up to another move anyway, so that's a good game, and that's going to be the final game. Now, this team is a classic from my Patreon Discord, and there's tons of help to get working with this team. It's super strong. If you'd like to join the Patreon Discord, link should be appearing below pretty shortly if it's not already, and you can join that, get teams before they hit YouTube, all my meta strategies and analysis and all that stuff. And also, if you're looking for coaching, hit me up on Metafy. That information's in the pinned comment description, and that's going to do it for me. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.